Hello, my friends. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau on a very windy evening. There's one thing you know about me on my walks. I've stated many times, I absolutely abhor walking in wind. It's also getting dark, so it's going to get colder. I have you mounted on my chest tonight. It's going to be dark soon. I have night vision on early, which is why everything looks blue until it gets dark. We had winds 20 plus mile an hour today. It's still gusting. It's in the 40s. It's chilly. As you can see, I'm wearing gloves. I also have my neck warmer on because I don't like wind on the back of my neck. So I'm going to do a basic 5-mile route tonight. I'm wearing a winter cap. The weather has changed, but we get a front going by and it's going to be 60 to 65 for the next few days. And we're supposed to get rain Monday. So 48 degrees, 46 right now, something like that. Feels like it's in the 30s, like 38 or so. That's what it feels like. Now for Maine, that's not cold. 38 degrees is not freezing cold. But it is chilly. Raw. It's raw. I'm sure a lot of people down south would be freezing to death, which is okay. So I'm not going to be doing a selfie view tonight. Just catching up on John Bolton being indicted. Finally. Indicted on 19 counts. He's probably going to try to do the same thing Comey's lawyers are trying to do, which is have the case dismissed. They always try to do that. Trump tried to do that in New York. It's like standard procedure. So 19 counts. The most serious one is should be a very obvious one, and he's going to have a very, very difficult time defending himself on it, so he's going to be found guilty on some of these. He shared via email classified information with at least 2 family members for whatever purpose we don't know yet, but he did share the information via email, as the investigation has pointed out.
24 seconds.
So that is a crime. The other problem he had was because he was a national security advisor for the White House, and he had this information that makes you a target from other countries. And he was in fact hacked by Iran, and Iran did obtain classified information from him that he was not supposed to have on an insecure server. Now, if you remember insecure servers, this same thing should have been happening to Hillary Clinton for having classified information on her servers in her bathroom, private server. And that never happened. Even when she had her aides smash the phones, which is an obstructing an investigation. It's obstruction. It's destroying evidence. It's all kinds of things she could have been charged with. James Comey decided not to charge her. Isn't that a fit of irony? So regardless, Comey's been indicted. John Bolton's been indicted. People are being indicted. And I'm sure more people are going to be indicted because they are fucking criminals. Thanks. I was gonna let that person go. They stopped and let me go. They actually rolled backwards, thinking that I wasn't crossing because they were too far in the crosswalk, but they weren't. So I tried to be nice. So anyways, like I said, things are happening. They're going to happen fast. I also got more classification on the so-called base that Qatar was getting in Idaho. They're not getting a base. That was Panikin speak. Remember I told you about Panikins? How much they pissed me off? They're the same people that believe all the conspiracy theories. And perpetuated by Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson now, and Candace Owens. Very disappointed in those three. Very disappointed. And look, they're trying to survive financially, I get it. When you have controversy and you get people to believe it, you make your ad revenue and you make a living, I get it. but that's what Mike Cernovich does. That's what Ann Coulter does. And that's what a lot of these other people that supported Trump when they have something to sell. So all these panicans on the internet, nitpicking every little thing Trump does. He lied to us when he bombed Iran. He said no new wars. And we're in another war. So, which we're not. And we knew that, you know. We're not in another war. We're not going to be in another war. We're not going to be in wars. Trump sends military stuff to Ukraine. Oh, he's doing exactly what Biden was doing. Well, we're not paying for those anymore. We're being reimbursed. So you'll notice that they haven't been complaining about that lately. So these people are very annoying. They truly are. And you know what pisses me off is if the Democrats win the House, they're going to impeach Trump, okay? You know they're going to. So there. I just put that cigarette out. Somebody threw a cigarette out from their window when they went by. The grass is so dry right now. Wouldn't want a fire to start. So I put it out. It's a windy night. A lit cigarette in the grass with this wind. Not a good mix, friends. Not a good mix. So anyways, John Bolton, 19 counts. I believe you can find the PDF of that through most news outlets. If you want to avoid the news propaganda and actually read the indictment yourself and what the charges are, they're pretty readily available online. So you may wish to check those out, all 19 counts, what they're for, dates they happened, etc. Where the hell's all these cars coming from? Grand Central Station. Another one. Did our population increase overnight or what? There's another one. You're going to hear my pocket talking to me tonight. I didn't put my Bluetooth on. brought my gloves tonight. It's colder tonight than it was last night, just because it's windy. Pretty sure everybody's furnace is on tonight. Where I missed the visor on my hat. Can't see the ground in front of me when I get headlights on my face. After we cross the street up ahead, I'll have nothing but sidewalk for the rest of my walk, so that'll make me happy. So it was really funny watching Andrew McCabe, one of the people that should be indicted for the Russia collusion hoax. He was number 2 behind James Comey. He's the guy that either Comey was lying or McCabe was lying. It was one or the other. Andrew McCabe. So it was funny seeing him on CNN talking about Bolton's indictment. At least he was honest. He said Bolton's going to have a difficult time proving that he mishandled classified information. He shouldn't have done that. But he was arrogant. Hey, I'm on CNN. I'm hating Trump. The world loves me. I can do and say what I want. Trump's never going to be president. He's going to go to prison for the rest of his life. Well, how did that work out for you, Mr. Bolton? Mr. Train Conductor? These people really are something else. You know that? Truly. And they never learn. You know, they watch MSNBC, CNN, then they think they know what they're talking about. Then they get made to look stupid in public. Like Whoopi Goldberg on The View. RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl, was on The View. And they brought up how RFK Jr. is not even a doctor. You can understand why people get upset at his commentary. So RFK Jr.'s wife reminded Whoopi Goldberg that 90% of the people that have been health and human services directors have not been doctors, including Barack Obama's picks. Barack Obama picked an economist. So Whoopi's reply to that was, "We'll be right back after this break." And cut away from that. You know, these people go repeat this stuff that is obvious propaganda on CNN, MSNBC, the internet news sources like Axios, Daily Beast, The Guardian. It's all the same. PBS, NPR, ABC, NBC, CBS. Although, I have to admit, CBS has been getting better. They have realized this is a horrible business model. The United States electorate is not all leftist lunatics. Always got to watch cars on this part here. No sidewalk. Now I will have a sidewalk. Now I'll be good. Unless somebody drives up on the sidewalk. Definitely New Englanding out tonight. Ooh. Windy, my friends, it's windy. When it gets colder, like actually freezing cold, the camera is going to start moving to different places, mainly on my head. The head is like the best place to put the camera equipment. One, for the electronics, getting heat from the top of my head is enough to help it stay healthier and warmer. Though the GoPro has not been affected by freezing weather, because it actually generates quite a bit of heat from the batteries. So even if you're using it and it's 20 degrees, the heat from using it warms it up a little bit. But they're made pretty rugged for different weather conditions. They do get hot. They get too hot and they turn off if it's like 95 degrees and direct sunlight is coming on it. I've had that happen once, but it actually was caused by a bad battery overheating. So as stated, there's a lot of stuff going on. President Trump yesterday showed construction of the new ballroom that's being built, that he's building himself. There's some donors that were there. They contributed some funds. Don't know what they're getting in exchange for those funds. But I trust President Trump in that if anybody is getting any preference for money that's donated for something, it's actually going to go towards helping the country and not enriching the Trumps. There's been a lot of panic and talk online about Trump enriching himself with cryptocurrency and things like that. There's a lot of people doing cryptocurrency right now. It is the way it's going to go in the future. Pretty soon, you're not going to be using cash for anything. That's just the way that's going to go. It's going to be encrypted. So, It's not going to be a card you swipe. It's going to be something else. But they laughed at credit cards in the 70s, early 70s. People laughed at that. They wanted to use their traveler's checks and write checks. Times change. I'm okay with that if it's good for the public and it's not something that's bad. There's a lot of people that don't like digital currency. That woman right there was not looking for anybody crossing. Some people are oblivious. You really have to pay attention when you're walking at night. You really do. Cannot stress that enough. I've seen too many idiots. Most people are just fine. I mean, we already saw one person on this walk up there where there was no sidewalks. They went by almost on this white line, the equivalent of it, while I'm off to the side here on a path. The car was like right there. They didn't do any attempt to swerve, nothing. They either didn't see me or they didn't care, but the point being, you need to anticipate that stuff. I'm always looking up ahead, like at this car coming, see what it's doing. Then I get an opportunity to walk off to the side here, and I do that. Then I'll meander back. Because it only takes one person texting. Somebody's having an argument in a text with their girlfriend or boyfriend. And that's all it takes, split second. You can't take it back or go backwards. So the more often that you just play it safe, the better. And I'm not going to trust other people with my life. Those other people wouldn't trust me with theirs. Every year somebody gets hit by a car walking. At least one person. Barking up a storm over there. I'm wearing my shoes that have reflectors too. I have two pairs of shoes that I wear most of the time when I hike, and they have reflectors in them. Yeah, so panicins. What I was getting at was if the Democrats get the House, they're going to impeach Trump. And these same people creating all this panic among Republicans are going to be the same people defending Donald Trump. Because that's all they care about. They're just gravitating towards whatever's going to get ad clicks and make them ad revenue. It really makes me angry. Like Captain Lou Albano and Wise Guys. Angry. I'm fucking angry. It's part of the grand design. Road closed. Okay. I just, for whatever reason, decided to use the other way around here. Lately I've been walking on here, and I see them digging the road up there, way at the end of it, which I'm sure you don't see. But I'd be willing to bet it's either a problem with gas or a water main break or something. But they're digging the road up tonight. And if they're working this late at night in the cold and wind, it's something important. So I'll probably have that fixed next time we go through there. Figures, you know, tonight I could have walked through there like I have been every time. I've been walking through there every time lately. Tonight I didn't for some reason. Did I intuitively know? I didn't see anything on the other end of that street when we were at that other end. Whatever. We're at the 2-mile marker right now. 2 miles. 2 miles, my friends. 2 miles. We're a little over a mile from the dead raccoon, dead Rocky. Now the wind died down a little bit. I'm starting to get a sweat. I'm wearing a regular hoodie, not wearing a thick one. It's my Meshuggah hoodie. Grindcore metal band that I call math metal, that I enjoyed seeing in concert 3 times. I was watching a press conference with President Trump yesterday, and he was in the Oval Office, and he's talking, and they're asking him questions about, you know, these people being prosecuted, and aren't you concerned about looking like you're politically prosecuting your opponents? And you could tell he was getting frustrated and irritated. So he kind of let them have it. Said, yeah, we had this Russia collusion hoax, and now it's officially a hoax. They lied to mess with a president that was duly elected, had a special counsel, and he said that one day he got a call from his son Eric, you know, asking about, you know, am I going to go to jail? I mean, what's going on here? I didn't do anything wrong. You know, and Trump has not forgotten that. He reminded the press yesterday. He said, my son is a beautiful boy. He's a good boy, he said. And they tried to lock him up and ruin them and ruin the company. And justice is going to do what justice does. You know, what are we supposed to do? Nothing? Allow that to happen? This is what I and many other people, including yourself, have said 4 years ago, whatever it was. They're opening a Pandora's box, going after Trump. They're weaponizing the justice system. They better be prepared to reap what they sow. And they were so arrogant, they figured Trump would be in jail right now. They might have even stuck with Joe Biden as a candidate. If it wasn't for that debate, you know, he would have been a candidate. They tried to keep him from the public. The media tried to cover for him. Media embarrass themselves, but they don't care. They don't care. They don't have any scruples. So they're going to move on to the next thing and take advantage of whatever that is. They don't care that they look that terrible. That's up to the CEO of the network to fix that stuff. And they're not. So CNN right now, for a little while, tried to play it okay, and they don't have the ratings. So they're going to try going back to what they were doing before that destroyed their ratings. Because they have painted themselves in a box. They don't have a choice. They're not taken seriously as a news outlet anymore. They ruin their integrity, their credibility. You know, they fired, what, 3, maybe 4 people, but they kept Anderson Cooper, they kept Jake Tapper, they kept Dana Bash, and they kept that other woman on there who, as soon as their mouth opens, you hear the propaganda, that angled tone, opinionated. That's not news. It just isn't. MSNBC is even worse. So, F them. F them. Deserve what they got. That's all there is to that. So we will just move on. Prosecute who you can. If they're found guilty, they're found guilty. If they're not, they still paid a price, because John Bolton's not a wealthy man. So he's going to have to put his house up to pay for his legal fees. But hey, you know, that's his fucking problem. He had to go pull that shit. Should have sold more books. I have run out of fucks to give for these people. And as a voter, I'm pissed because, you know, they spent the first 2 years of Trump's first term ruining my vote, my democratic vote. That was my sacred vote they were fucking with. Trying to usurp my vote. 2 impeachments that were bullshit. All right, I do have some good news. I got some good news, guys. This is really good news. The Democrats are in trouble. They're playing this like the shutdown is working for them, and it's not. New polling has just come out. 3 different polls. All 3 of them were comparable, not exactly the same. But they all showed that the Democrats were seriously lacking.
Distance 2.5 miles. Time 45 minutes 43 seconds.
Usually towards an off-year election, they start seeing, you know, one party +8, +10. Democrats right now are +3. They were +3 when they lost the House. Combined with new redistricting, and California is going to have their vote this fall. It's probably going to pass, and it's going to give some of the seats that were taken from Texas, changing theirs, back to the Democrats. But there's 2 other states, and they're going to add another 2.5 seats. And the Supreme Court is going to be ruling very shortly on how the Democrats were redistricting, basing their districts on quote-unquote black districts, rezoning districts based on the fact that they are black people and they needed to be separated from white people to have their own representation in Congress. The Democrats did that. Lawsuits were filed right away. Democrats have delayed and delayed, but that's coming to an end, coming up in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is going to rule that that is racist. You cannot redistrict a voting district based on skin color, whether it's white, black, purple, or whatever. So the Democrats, looks like they're going to end up losing 19 congressional seats. In addition, well, 19 total. So they're going to be hard pressed to win the House. And they did it to themselves. Simple fact is they're unpopular. People don't like their bullshit. CNN's Enton, CNN is no fan of Trump. He just come out and said that the Republicans have completely flipped favorability towards the GOP for midterms next year because of Democrats' behavior, turning everything into a circus. The American public has fatigue on that. They're tired of the Democrats' antics. That is what the new polling shows. So again, it's Democrats doing a circus, being performative, showing up, making noise, encouraging violence. That's the big thing. Encouraging violence and encouraging people to get out in the streets. And people heard that in 2020 and we had riots. We have a No Kings protest coming up this weekend, 2 days from now. Now, I don't know how true it is, but the last No Kings protest they had about 5 million nationally. They're expecting to surpass that. Of course, that's probably just promotional fluff by the people doing it. But regardless, they will get a bunch of people to show up this weekend for the No Kings nationwide rally. There's going to be one in Lewiston, Auburn here on the Longley Bridge. I don't know how many people have RSVP'd. Don't really care. Should show up with a Trump flag and a bullhorn and give them some crap. That would be fun. So these people are a piece of work, let me tell you. Trump has got to be the worst king we've ever had. Judges are more powerful than he is. You know? I mean, it's literally a laugh. King of what? Everything with the Democrats is hyper-partisan politics. And I got to give the Republicans credit because, you know, they could be doing the same thing and they're not. Because the people are going to see that too. Mark my words. The people will notice that. Republicans are all about common sense. Common sense is where the country is right now. People want to hear common sense. Perfect example, several studies I was reading today. I read about 10 different ones that were done since 2022. They all seem to come out within the last 4 months, about 10 different ones in over 4 months. All of them, regardless of what demographic or age group, transgenderism has dropped almost 50%, promoting it, supporting it, and participating in it. So that's good news. That means it's withering on the vine. We already knew it hurt the Democrats politically in the last election, and they're still trying to defend it. I'll get to Augusta, Maine here in a minute. But university studies, people on campus, young people in schools. Another study had to do with adults over 30. Another one had to do with adults under 30. And it has lost support across the board on all of them, no matter what the questions were asked, how they were asked. So you can take it to the bank that that is going away. I mean, it's always going to be there because it's always been there, even in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 50s and 40s, 30s, 20s. So it's always been there, but I'm talking about as a social contagion, a fad among young people, promoted by social media, television, and Democrat politicians who were promoting that. And I knew things were changing when Sarah McBride, the first trans congresswoman, Maine congressperson of that ilk, elected to Congress, decided not to make a big issue out of the bathroom issue once she was there. She decided not to make a big deal out of it. She would just use the neutral restroom, which, you know, other Democrats tried to make something of it. Republicans tried to make something of it. And the Democrats didn't feed into it to give Republicans what they wanted because they know it's a political losing issue for Democrats. So when you pay attention to that stuff, you can tell it's on its way out. Unfortunately, the Democrats have used and abused all these kids to promote this shit just so they could get votes from virtue signaling white women. A mother and father in Connecticut who have adopted 9 children, okay? They have adopted 9 kids
Distance 3 miles.
because they have the financial means.
54 minutes, 16 seconds.
All right? And Massachusetts is where this is, where this happened. It required them, because they just passed legislation recently, that they have to list pronouns and all this other stuff. And they refused to do it. And now the state is threatening to take their financial assistance away and possibly take kids out of the home. They're going to take their license to adopt away. They're being threatened to have their license to adopt taken away For 9 kids that have been in this household, well fed, taken care of, education paid for by these people, to have their license taken away so they cannot have these kids, to try to force them into affirming transgender ideology because of a law Massachusetts passed. They just adopted another kid. So they're giving these kids a good home that otherwise would not have one, would go into foster care, God knows what would happen to them there. And, you know, Democrats are fucking bullshit. They fucking suck rubber donuts, okay? I really don't like these people. There's no reason to do that other than you're pushing political narratives. You literally do not give a fuck about the children at all. Nothing. They're putting politics over these kids. Washington State, there's another kid going to be taken out of the home because the parents won't give the state permission to transition them. The parents won't give the doctors permission. And Washington passed a law, if a medical doctor feels that a parent is causing harm to a child for refusing medical care, the state can take the kid out of the home. They consider not transitioning the kid as child abuse and refusing medical care for the child. Oregon does that, Washington does that, California does that, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Massachusetts, etc., so on. That's fucking bullshit. Right? All right. Get no hi from him. Suck on his fucking milkshake and not say hi, well, fuck him. Anyways, Augusta, Maine. There was just a school council meeting, and Maine's chapter of Turning Point USA showed up. The guy was wearing a white 47 hat for Trump, had a Turning Point sweatshirt on. He starts to talk about transgender women playing in girls' sports and in their locker rooms, having naked men in the locker rooms. And then 2 of the women that were there with him started to undress in front of City Council. City Council tried to interrupt, say, what are you doing? You can't do that. And he said, why not? This is what you're doing with trans women in ladies' locker rooms. That feeling that you feel right now, feeling uncomfortable, that's what these young girls feel like seeing a naked boy in their locker room. Think about that. Then, then they were quiet. And the ladies continued taking their clothes off until they were down to their skivvies. Then they decided to get dressed. They were both parents, kids that go to that school. So it's unfortunate that we have to do things like that to send a fucking message of common sense. Sometimes a 2x4 of common sense upside the head will get somebody's noodle thinking straight. I don't know what'll come of that. That just happened this week. But I'm glad somebody did that. That should be going on nationally. Nationally. Because what are they going to do? Say, stop doing that? You're making me feel uncomfortable? When that's the issue they're talking about. Boys being naked in front of their girls in school. You know, adults You know, I don't agree with that either. Adults can deal with their own shit, okay? Some guy's got a private business, wants to allow that shit. Well, people can either go there or not, right? Public schools, though, you're forcing girls to do that. Minors. And, you know, it's an 80-20 issue here in Maine. 80% of the public does not support that shit. The Democrats won't give it up, though. They actually had new legislation in Augusta, and they ended up tabling it for a future date because it ought not to pass. They weren't going to have the votes for it. And Democrats have the trifecta majority here. So that just goes to show you that the Democrats are in charge and they can't get that passed. And the transgender stuff, they're leaving it alone. The public does not want it. Now, if somebody does in the privacy of their own bedroom, hey, have at it, you know? Leave it out of the fucking schools. Leave the fucking kids alone. And I'm serious about that. Leave the fucking kids alone. Stay the fuck away from the children. Somebody's going to a university and college and they want to pull that shit. Well, those students are adults. Those parents can deal with it. And the students as adults can either protest it or accept it, or whatever the fuck they want to do with it, you know? It just burns my ass when it comes down to minors. Really fucking hate that. And then you go pass legislation to take rights away from the parents. How fucking evil is that shit? I mean, that's fucking nasty, evil shit right there, you know? Anyway, that's what I was getting worked up on earlier.
Distance 3.5 miles. Time 1 hour 2 minutes 54 seconds.
I mean, that stuff really pisses me off. Sex cannot be changed, period. It's mental illness with these people, it really is. I saw this black woman on Piers Morgan, okay? A black woman on Piers Morgan show, and Olympic swimmer, professional swimmer Riley Gaines was on there, and Riley Gaines called the black woman a racist, because she is. She was talking bad about white people and this and that, and that's racism. And she was like, you can't call black women can't be racist towards other women, to white women. What are you talking about? I'm black. Piers Morgan had a chuckle, and they got into it over that. And what made it funny for me is the black woman was a trans woman. Wasn't even a woman. But, you know, with that mentality, well, because they're black, they can't be racist. A trans woman has to be acknowledged as a woman, so they have a legitimate argument against a white woman. I mean, you can't fucking make this shit up. You know, you can't make it up. That is batshit fucking over the moon crazy. And that's why they're losing. That's why they're losing. They can't make an argument. And when you confront them with facts, the first thing they do is they get angry and violent. Because you're ruining their whole fantasy with simple facts that are true. They try to defend mutilating minors, transition surgery, by bringing up references like, oh, well, men, it's okay for Jewish people and Catholics to circumcise their kids, though. You're mutilating their genitals. Like that's the same fucking thing. I mean, really? So, hey, how you doing? So it's like, you know, and these two people on the porch looking at me like I'm talking to myself. And maybe I am, because I have the camera mounted on my chest and I don't have any lights indicating that it's on. So I don't draw attention. So now it looks like I'm talking to myself. And they were just sitting there smoking weed, looking at me like I'm the weirdo. Oh well, so goes life. I'll get over it. At least now in the future they'll be afraid to talk to me. So that's like a plus, you know what I mean? They're having a hard time in the wind. Stop by here on a night when it's not windy. Looks like they added a couple things. So anyway, these people are fucking bananas. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about with Enton, CNN, showing a video that Republicans have gained 14 points with the public since the Democrats have tried this anti-National Guard, anti-Trump fighting crime. It's gotta watch that dog. The dog was just there in the yard. I couldn't see if it was tethered or not. I don't want to shoot a dog. So anyway, the Republicans have gained 14 or 19 points on the Trump fighting crime with the National Guard fixing DC. And now it was reported today that the National Guard are in Memphis doing their thing. So I got to check up on that later after I get back. And Trump has a 60% to 62%, depending on what poll you look at, approval for what he's doing with crime. So the Democrats are losing on that. So every time Gavin Newsom comes out spreading his fucking bullshit, and Fat Pritzker, or as I call Prickster, in Illinois, I call it Illinois because they're in their own fucking universe, time zone. I don't know what you would call it. So, Pritzker is an out-of-touch billionaire, multi-billionaire oligarch who finds a lot of this bullshit that pisses everybody off. His sister is actually a brother. He transitioned to a she. So they support a lot of this trans.org funding. And they're just fucking bad news, you know? Bad fucking news. Just bad people. Anyway, they think they're being clever and smart, and the public is not supporting their take on Chicago crime. They're protecting crime. They're protecting criminals. The majority of the public, okay, the majority of the public voted for Trump to deport illegals. And I even saw one poll where 70% of the people out of the ones that supported deporting to begin with criminals, 69, which is 69 point something percent, we'll round it off to 70, stated that they would support deporting all illegals, whether they are criminal or not. So that is the sentiment of the public. Now, a big lawsuit was just filed against California. California filed a lawsuit as well. And the National Transportation Board, NTB, just took $40+ million away from California. Why? Because they were giving truck driver licenses to people that can't even read English. And there was a truck accident that happened recently where somebody did an illegal U-turn because they couldn't read the fucking sign.
Time, 1 hour, 11 minutes.
And they killed somebody. So that family is also suing California. And I believe this happened in Florida. There was a truck driver in Florida from California that was licensed in California as an illegal. So not only was he an illegal, he got a license, and he didn't know English. Despite the rules clearly stating that you must know English to get your license, regardless of whether or not they were an illegal. So California just got $40 million+ pulled that they're going to have to foot the tab for now. And, you know, they broke the rules. So Gavin Newsom likes to run his mouth to the media. He likes to try to emulate Trump online by posting posts with all caps like Trump does, missing the complete context and tone of why Trump does that. It works for Trump. It does not work for Gavin Newsom. He looks like an idiot. So, and as I've stated before, Gavin Newsom's very wealthy. Very wealthy. He owns a vineyard, his own winery. It's worth millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't disclose that to the public. He never talks about it. Trump talks about how rich he is. Everybody in this country should be billionaires, he said. And you can be in this country, blah, 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 you know. Gavin Newsom, oh no. With socialism, you got to take from the rich to give to the poor. It's a sin to have money. So all these guys, Gavin Newsom, Pritzker, and all these people that are wealthy, that are Democrats, they don't talk about their money because it's considered a sin. So it's outrageous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's what's going on with that stuff. That's my opinions. I certainly do have opinions. But there are a lot of people that are what I call panicans. You know, everything Trump does, they gotta nitpick and criticize it, and it's always these people online, these influencers that are making ad revenue money, trying to stir controversy. I'm very disappointed in Tucker Carlson turning his back on Israel like that, criticizing Trump. I mean, fuck him, man. Alex Jones, too. When you do that, you're helping Hamas. People that execute people. Those 8 people that got shot in the back of the head, I saw this week. Excuse me. You know? And I watched the uncensored one. And not only did they shoot him in the head, One of them, his freaking head exploded. It just came apart like a watermelon. I mean, it was pretty horrifying. And then after they fell on the ground, they shot him some more. Then they started shooting their guns up in the air. One of the guys shot from a really stupid angle, and I couldn't really tell from the video, but to me it looked like it ricocheted off the ground and it hit somebody that was watching. The clip cut off. I couldn't see the aftermath of it, but that's what it looked like to me initially. Good, because after that guy shot, one of the soldier guys put his hand up. Hey, hey, stop. Tried to get him to stop. You know? Anyway, these people are vicious and nasty. And when you get a Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones bad-mouthing Trump, supplying what Israel needs to fight that, I just don't have the fucking stomach for that. I just don't. I don't. All right, my friends. Change the battery. I put my mittens back on. Oh man. All right, well, we'll finish up the rest of this walk. I'll take the camera off when it's time to say goodnight. Up ahead here somewhere. What I'm going to cook when I get back. I'm going to dice up some potatoes and onions. Have some meat with some noodles. I'm going to have some egg noodles with some vegetables. Some potatoes and onions cooked in olive oil. Yum, yum, yum. across here. Switch back to my night setting because I wasn't doing a selfie. Just to clarify. And when I didn't use any stabilizing on the regular setting, it was actually worse than if some of this boost was on stabilizing. I mean, it's always watchable, you know what I mean, but I prefer how this looks better. Even though it rocks side to side a little bit. It's not too bad when it sits in the middle of my chest. On my head it goes back and forth a little more. Wind is dying down a little bit now. Earlier today it was really whooping it up. I think we were getting 35, 40 mile an hour gusts. Still got a ways to go. I'll stop recording with you guys up ahead here. Screw the camera now. Those are two of the brain dead people getting driver's licenses. They're illegals. And they are illegals. They could be legal. I'm just assuming. But we've never seen them here before. Now they're here. So, anyways, my friends, thank you for walking with me. Click like and subscribe. Share the content. Say a prayer for Trump and the country. That stuff is working. Things are going pretty well. Approval ratings for Trump are 56%, according to Rasmussen. And, well, Trump's not losing ground, he's gaining ground. Imagine that. You fight crime and you do what people voted for, and they end up liking what you're doing. Imagine that. So let the Democrats cry about racism and all this other stuff that's getting them nowhere. And we'll laugh all the way to the victory line at midterms next year. So we'll see you on the next walk, my friends. God bless you and your family. And check out the No Kings rally this weekend. Online streaming. Hopefully there's no violence or anything stupid. And we will see you on the next walk, my friends. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.